Welcome, audiophiles and cinephiles alike, to the Beneflicks podcast, the show where we are reaping the Beneflicks one movie at a time. I'm Liz.
I'm Tyson.
How you doing this fine evening, friend?
I'm listening to Lemon Coo downstairs.
How do you spell coo?
COO.
You know that for a fact?
Well, okay, there's the coo like a baby, and then there's the
Yes.
coo
Like a
like
political,
C-O
upheaval.
C-O-U-P-E?
P. I thought it was COUP, but I mean, I think that might be an E.
Coup de grace.
Coup de grace? What is that, like a fighting style?
Coup de grace is a perk in Dead by Daylight.
Is that real?
Yeah, that's actually
Okay, what does the perk do?
Coup de grace, coup de grace. I think it's the one where when a gen pops, you can swing farther. And like, as it's a killer perk, so you can swing farther, I believe.
Useful?
Situationally, depending on the killer, I think more chase-based killers like Trapper or like
Mm-hmm.
Demogorgon get use out of it because their chases aren't the best. But I think that for the most part, like it's reliant on the characters completing an objective,
Okay.
and it always kind of feels shady to have a perk that is required on the enemy doing their job. Like
Mm.
it feels
Mm.
like you shouldn't have to wait for the enemy to be proficient to be able to get use out of your perk. But
Okay. Okay. Man, my PlayStation Plus is like expiring the 21st, and it does like make me a tinge sad. However, I, Dead by Daylight only really works when you're playing with the friends,
that's true.
and more often than not, we're just too busy, you know?
We're too busy, and also I think that the game's in a very interesting place right now because they did took that sabbatical to do some like improvement fixing,
Uh-huh.
and nothing was really resolved with that. And then they reworked some killers and yada yada yada. I'm a big fan of the game, and I think I have so many great memories playing the game. I think it's a very fun game to play,
Hmm.
even alone. I've had some good experiences just playing, and it's very casual but also weirdly competitive experience at the same time though. God, man, there are certain games that should not withstand longer than 5 years. It feels like it kinda just needs to come and go, and it's
No.
even more insane because I recently saw a clip, of the new Halloween game.
Looks terrible.
It looks terrible, but also, did you see the whole component where, like, you can go up to the NPCs in the game, and you have to basically talk to them before Michael Myers gets to them, and you have to, like you get options to tell them, like, you can tell them to follow you, to hide in the house, to pick up a weapon and fight Michael Myers.
No.
It's really cool because I guess the whole concept is it's point-based, so Michael Myers has to, like whoever's playing has to go obviously kill the other players in the match, but also
Yeah.
these NPCs that are, like, high worth, and then the players, their goal is to make it to the NPCs first and basically like either make it so they survive or like escape or
Whoa.
whatever.
Yeah.
Really interesting concept. Granted, will it be done well by Gun Media? Probably not. They
Who did that? Who's that? Do you
Gun
know?
Media did the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game, but
But I thought that was good. Am I wrong?
just terrible. Like it was really cool to begin with, just terrible bugs,
Mm.
terrible gameplay loops,
Mm-hmm.
horrible balance, horrible microtransactions. But I will give Dead by Daylight,
Motherfucker.
they're not that bad about microtransactions.
Uh-huh.
Texas Chainsaw, from what I saw, was atrocious.
That just fucking sucks, dude, because, like and I don't even know if the age-old backing of that thought of, like, "Man, if only the companies and the shareholders knew what they were doing with the Friday the 13th game, would that have actually influenced the market in any way?"
Yeah, it's just really interesting. Like, because Gun Media was also behind Friday the 13th. They
I
were,
did not know that.
yeah. And people really do think they used that whole legal situation as a scapegoat just to stop supporting the game. Because unfortunately, those
Interesting.
horror licenses and those horror kind of licensed game themes, like the Friday the 13th and whatever,
Mhm.
it very much is so dependent on the first wave of people who are going to buy it, play it for, a couple hours to get bored of it, and then the second wave of when you make the game free, then you get these
Mhm.
microtransactions to
Mhm.
get people attached to that.
Yeah.
The only issue was I think like Texas Chainsaw stayed like $40 for the entirety of its
That
release.
tracks. I mean, the clips that I saw were, like, relatively interesting. What you're describing of Halloween, I'm like, "Oh,
No,
that."
it looks cool. I can't deny.
Component-wise, I'm like, "That's really sick," and, like, when I remember when I had first gotten Dead by Daylight and you were showing me all of, like, the B games that, like, not just behavior, but, like, different companies running do, like, the one where it's, like, they're in the
Yeah,
school.
that one's last year. That one
Yeah.
was just in fucking development cycle hell until it finally released to like underwhelming reception. And it's really interesting. I feel like I've seen a lot of like essays done essentially talking about how like it's so hard to make a successful asymmetrical horror game
Mhm.
where you can fight against the killer. Because it's inevitably always going to be like a 4 versus 1
Mhm.
where the killer just kind of gets bullied and beat the shit out of. Like especially in
Yeah.
Friday the 13th, where like there was 8 survivors and they were all just had baseball bats and were just whacking the shit out of Jason.
And it's funny because, like, I do think, like, there are some, like, minor diamond in the roughs, like, Phasmophobia, for example, that's not, like, a 4v1 based thing, but that is, like, a horror-based game that I do think works in its pocket.
Yeah.
The one that, like, I eagerly and it does make like, it's the maybe the only game that I'm like, "You know what? I wish I would extend my PS Plus just this much longer so I wanna play it," is the Outlast Trials. That game is
Mm.
fucked up. To me and I don't and I think it's because, like, the developers have some sort of license agreement with the company that they work for, where it's like, they aren't really worried or concerned about, like, even if a game succeeds, the mass layoff epidemic, because,
Yeah.
like, they like, from 1 even though 2 is not as well received as 1, but, like, Outlast Trials, every update gets more and more just, like, asinine and just grim, like, just
Mm.
fucked up. Like, there's this one recently where and it does, like, the whole Alien Isolation, like, AI character mechanic where, like,
Sure.
it hears you, it tracks you,
It's
it
like super
monitors you,
advanced.
and, like, there's, like, different games that you have to play that is, like, Jigsaw level fucked up, and they get, like, voice actors that are so good at what they do to sound
Interesting.
like they're getting tortured. Like, there's one where you have to, like, imagine a carnival game where you're shooting at, like, the balloon with water,
Yeah.
but it's acid on, like, a bunch of different people, and, like, you're seeing it and it's graphically really well, like, realized.
Huh.
Um,
Interesting.
but yeah, outside of that, like, you're doing good?
Yeah, I'm doing good. No Dead by Daylight as of
Mm,
recent, so
no, maybe
life's better, life's up.
maybe by episode 215, we'll be doing the Dead by Daylight movie directed by Jeff Wadlow.
Jeff Wadlow. Wait,
Uh-huh.
Jeff Wad Imaginary Dude?
Good answer.
Fuck yeah. Would you buy by him? Stay? No.
What do you I'm sorry.
You
No, that's William Brent Bell who did The Boy 1 and 2 and
fi Braun Returns.
Brom Returns and, Orphan 2 and 3 called Orphans. Jeff
That's
Wadlow
not true. It's called Orphans?
Orphans, yeah. It just got, like, showed at CinemaCon or something. That's one that just, like, feels we talk about, like, film festivals to go to, and
Cinema
but the concept of seeing, like, 5 minutes of the new Steven Spielberg and a 20-minute sizzle reel of Minecraft 2 in Las Vegas so we can gamble and drink, like, Fat
That is
Tuesdays.
actually kind of that's cool. You know, it's I work for a movie theater company. I work for the Big R, Regal,
Mhm.
and my GM always tells us because they have like those GM conferences and they have those studios come out and like show
Yeah,
trailers and show
yeah, it's like
footage.
symposiums.
Yeah, it seems like such a cool thing to just to kind of get fucked up to and watch like Robert Downey Jr. do like a cartwheel on stage as Doom.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but no, yeah, no, life's been good, as of recent, nothing too crazy or interesting. I feel like I have not been watching too much, funny enough. I feel like I was really trying to hold myself to watch more this week.
Mhm,
It being a I still don't like the word, even though I've been around you forever and I've been around everyone forever. The word cinephile just doesn't click with me, but
okay.
sometimes it is a bit interesting being a cinephile, especially with like Letterbox, because it does I'm so weirdly competitive, and I even though I should be encouraging my friends and the people who I'm close to watch more film and to get more new experiences and to find film that I've never seen that I wanna see or that I've never even heard of
Yeah,
to entice me to watch those films, I get so competitive, and I'm like, no, like, you shouldn't have no, I should be watching more than you, or
yeah.
this person's seen more than me, or why is this person watching? And it's so funny because it's a fucking hobby, it's movies, like,
Mhm,
I need to
mhm,
be so self-serious for a second.
mhm,
And especially, like, it's not like I'm sitting in my bed, like, scrolling on my phone instead of watching movies, like, I'm making plans, or I'm at work or whatever.
mhm,
But it is so interesting how the social mediaification of movies and of vlogging movies and of vlogging what you've seen
mhm.
has kind of always like, has really brought out, like, a weird envious side of me. Envy or pride or
Mhm,
greed, it's
mhm.
fucking I'm gluttonous right now.
I guess, like, the only real comparison that I can give is, I guess, like, because like, the fallback I have is like, "Oh, if I have no idea what movie I'm gonna talk about, let me watch a movie, and then I can talk about it," you know? If I can kind of bank that the movie is going to fall within the circumference of me liking to loving it, and I'm a pretty agreeable person that loves a lot about movies. However, I do think, like, for you would you rather like is your day made more or less to either extreme by having the time to watch a movie or to hang out with a friend, you know? And because it's like to me, what is the thing that is going to put you in like a nice comatose and like a nice comfort? Because at the end of the day, like, and I guess like working where I do at Starbucks, where you get a lot of people of all ages and a lot of transfers. So it feels like you're a vessel for people to stay for a little bit and leave. And you hear the stories of people that like have been there for years prior. Um, I have to take and funny enough, it's like when I've taken some edibles recently, and it's like I used to be so terrified, and like these past few times, like I've had some really nice experiences where I'm like, no, I've earned this, you know, like I worked the 8 hours, I did some homework, like you worked the 8 hours, you wrote, or like there are people as we know in like my inner circle, somewhat in your inner circle, but like my family specifically, like that are in the weeds, you know, and
That's
like
true.
there it is a luxury unto itself, which I don't think actually helps the situation when you say like, oh, it's a luxury, but like getting to be like, man, I wish I could watch the movie is a luxury, but at the same time, like to be afforded that space that you've created,
Very
I
true.
think is the treasure in it of itself because it's like there are people that are partying in like in debt, in financial debt, but like it's these building blocks, dude. And like,
That's true. I feel like as well, like it's such a I'm not negligent to acknowledge that like it's like it is a first world problem to like it's extreme. Like I'm very privileged to be like, fuck, like I'm not watching enough movies. My life is so difficult. Like I'm not naive to acknowledge the fact like that's kind of dumb. I guess it's just more so like it's so weird that I get, like, this weird competitive edge in everything, like, in games
mhm,
and watching movies and hobbies, like and then it really makes me question, am I in it for the love of the art form or just to, like, put
mhm,
myself on a performative, like, "I'm better than you because I have this niche thing acknowledged," or whatever, and before I let you go,
mhm, mhm,
film feels as if it's such an inherently or not sorry, not film itself, but rather like a platform like Letterboxd. The joke
yeah,
is everyone has these top 4s that no one's heard of or is
mhm,
very, like, prestigious art house film, whatever, yada, yada, yada.
mhm,
And to one degree, there's people mocking that are kind of not being very realistic. Like, people are like, "Oh, this '70s French film that you've never heard of,"
yeah,
like, that's stop. But to some degree, like, when you go down these rabbit holes of people who are on Letterboxd, who are, like, legitimately they have 4 films, all, like, documentary short film was released in the '60s, and
yeah.
it's like, okay, like, there are people that are really in this shit.
Sure, sure. I but I guess, you know, everyone drinks a different, like, ceremonial grade matcha.
1,000,000%.
Um, but I think, like, to what you're saying about, like, am I really doing this for the love of the medium, or is there just, like, this competitive edge? I don't know about you, but, like, that, I guess, if you're chalking it up to is external noise, and all it takes is just, like, one shot in a movie for it to just all fade away, and
That's
for, like,
true.
you to be like, "Oh, no, this is where it's at."
That's true.
Um, I mean, shit like that every day is the sort of thing, and that's kinda like why, like, the segment I brought up last episode that I wanna make a reoccurring segment is, like, the art that's on our mind, because, like, in many ways, I think either the week that you've had or the days that you've had inform the art that you use as a retreat, or the art that you've experienced or think about informs the week, you know, like, tet on tet, vice versa,
Very true.
'cause, yeah, no, I've sounds like your week has been solid, my week, I won't divulge, it's been some bullshit. It's been some fucking bullshit. But, you know, shout out my partner, shout out you, shout out Art.
Odie.
Shout the fuck out to my dog Odie. I'm not gonna show a photo of Odie to you guys. I'm gonna conceal him like a baby to the bosom.
That's
And
sacred.
one day I might, one day. But yeah, I guess I'll go first for some art that's been on my mind because
Talk
I
to
feel
me.
like I'm gonna fill that space that I would have talked about my week just with the art I've been thinking about.
Talk to me.
Oddly, I was thinking about this the other day. This is gonna be really silly, but I think apt because The Mummy is gonna be coming out shortly. I'm gonna make a statement, and I think you are gonna disagree with me. I think Evil Dead Banner, okay? Evil Dead Banner, walk with me. Lee Cronin has a better understanding of how to harness acting than Fede Alvarez does.
Than of acting?
Of like the actors in his movies.
Oh yeah,
To
100%.
okay.
1,000,000%.
Because I think like Jane Levy is doing what like that is inherent Jane Levy like as the lead in
You
Evil
have
Dead.
get out of here with the spit strands.
Mommy's with the maggots
Yeah, it's
now.
probably a bit more
I
comparable.
think like to me, I was thinking a bit more about that, and like, funny enough, I think the origin of it was like whether it's a PR move, whether it's to say like, oh, if the movie sucks, it's Lee Cronin because it's Lee Cronin's the Mummy, but like the concept of like that is the personification of like, what everyone says. If a movie is good, they think everyone else. If a movie's bad, they look at like the source and they blame the filmmaker. That is literally like Lee Cronin is having the badge on his fucking face. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can agree to a certain extent. I just think it's
Why I'm thinking
it's Lee Cronin's The Mummy.
no, I sure. And again, maybe I'm diving too deep into that, but I-
Like, who
the
was the guy that directed the Tom Cruise one?
uh, Alex Kurtzman because he like is one of the 10 screenwriters on like Amazing Spider-Man 2,
Alex Kurtzman's The Mummy.
but
That's like a hogwash.
I'm intrigued. There's a few like horror stuff that's been circulating that's coming out. We're gonna hit some really good shit coming soon. I brought up that trailer for the Andre Overall or whatever his name is, the guy who did Autopsy of Jane Doe, Troll Hunter, the mismatched bag of the Voyage of the Demeter. But like he's coming out with a movie called Passenger, and I thought the trailer was aces. Um, the new Insidious movie doesn't actually look half bad. Like there's like some shit in there that I'm like, oh. Wait,
Directed
we're
by
at
who?
like 6 for the number after? I don't know what Insidious we are. I think it's like this is the 6th one
Yeah,
because there's 1, 2,
the
last
key.
chapter, Key, Red Door, that's the
Yeah,
Patrick Wilson one. Okay, so this is like 6. Um, and like I was thinking about, funny enough, because I was actually really thinking because I saw your roommate's letterbox and they logged Punch Drunk Love, so I was like, oh, maybe we're having an Adam Sandler week. You're never gonna touch it. Maybe one day when I get leukemia, you'll watch Spanglish. Thinking about, funny enough, it made me regret not seeing Ella McKay because I think what people used as like negatives of that movie, of like his weird writing that like no one sounds like they're speaking in human dialect, was the thing that worked the most for me in Spanglish. Thinking about like big, sincere love stories and romance films. Yeah, and then that kind of led me to finding a tweet in the way of like a Wendigo, where it was this for this like mini web series came out in 2007 called Luis is Missing that just got me by the throat, and I was like, I'm gonna watch it, and I watched it last night. Exceptional, and it made me think about like a lot of the actors that kind of are left forever being in the faces of obscurity, like the ones that we more in line with like filmmakers for us, like Joel Anderson. Like, man, I wonder if Joel Anderson knows like that there's some goons that like think his movie is like the greatest thing ever, like a Clifton Holmes and In the Dark 2000s. So it's like thinking about that and like would I be satisfied being that? Like would I be satisfied?
mm,
Because it's like the satisfaction, I guess, in this lens only exists by knowing that there is someone versus like by virtue of thought, like
you think you flopped?
yeah, and like, man, I
Sure.
I I hope there's someone. I don't know, and like that, I will say, Simon, if you're listening, friend, I did get your email back. I won't divulge into it, but just know that you're loved, my friend, and thank you so much for sending that. And just like your comment, I think tied directly into the thought of like not getting a sense of validation, but knowing that there is people that listen to this shit, Like at the end of the day, like even if it's my ASMR channel, my Instagram and stuff, I don't know if I could assuredly say that I would still be doing it this long into it if I didn't have the people that I do to say, "Hey, what you're doing means a lot to me," you
Mm,
know? And it's like, will I be like an artist chasing that sense of validation? I don't fucking know because I think it's the tightrope of like when I made my movie Please Stay or sorry, Next Stop. Um, just like to me, I didn't need any sense of validation. The validation came with the finished film, but that was shrouded in a whole level of personal feelings and layers to it. So it just made me think of a lot. But
mm,
yeah,
yeah,
that's all movie based music. The Igloo Ghost album fucking ripped. Do you know the artist Massive Attack?
yeah.
They're coming out with a new album with Tom Waits.
I saw you retweet that or repost that.
Sounds sick. I'm excited. Outside of that though, games. You talked about like Dead by Daylight earlier. Been playing some Overwatch, but funny enough, I'm feeling very similar to that feeling of like when a game has those two life cycles of like paid to free or free to paid, then sort
Yeah,
of thing. There's like that sweet spot where it's like, holy shit, it's good, and that's how they reel you in.
yeah.
I'm feeling that right now. Like, oh, this is good. Like
That's
there
how
are
they reel you
constant
in.
updates. They're really reworking things. They're bringing some PVE goodness. They added a
Okay,
new hero that's broken but fun,
okay.
and I'm like, fuck, they're gonna fuck me. Like I'm
Yeah,
ready.
I gotta get you. And Overwatch is an interesting one because Overwatch was the best game ever made at one point, and
I
then I
agree.
think they decided, how can we tank this as fast as possible?
I agree.
Um, Overwatch 2, I have not lived with at all. I had like a little bit of a life cycle where you can talk in depth about how much of a demon I was.
It brings up battle scars. Well, mind you, I was already a tattered soldier in that stage. I was
That's fair.
crutched up. I had a horrible accident, bone stuck out of my leg, tibia fibular fracture. Was in the process of literally getting like the freaking fattest boot into my leg or from my leg to then a nice cat or a cast to a boot. I'm so sorry. And then I was like, you know what? We're discording. Let's play some Overwatch. I'm playing it. I'm having fun. And you're like, "Nah, nah, nah. The gamma radiation's gonna turn me into Hulk." And I'm like, "No, no, it's okay. We've been through the power plant. We've been to like the fucking Flint, Michigan water wells. Like, we'll be okay." And you're like, "No." And then you're like, "Ah, okay, fine." And on one fateful night, I remember it clear as day. I had some hot Cheetos and I was eating them at the foot of my bed. And I remember it started with a little trickle. Shout out to our friend Devin doing some goon shit, and then little by little, it's like that mission with Skrillex playing in Far Cry 3 where you light all the field on fire. You lit everyone on fire. You made sure no one was left untouched. And that was like I was like, "Okay, off night, off night." And then I remember I saw you playing on Overwatch again the next day, and I joined, and immediately the hellstorm. It was crazy.
Yeah, not my proudest side of myself, but also I think it's funny the fact that was like our first game that we played together.
Yes.
Like we hadn't played games really
No.
ever in our
No, and then
friendship.
we trickled that into, like, playing Piggy and, like, different Roblox missions where I fell asleep on my computer and you're fighting Baphomet in, like,
That's
Roblox
true.
world.
We can make an episode on Roblox horror games. I'm a big aficionado.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what for you has been some authentic pieces of art that you have been loving?
So thank you for bringing that up. I will get into more art that's been on my mind as of recent, but I have a question for you that kind of ties into this because it kind of brought into my attention today,
Okay.
and I was thinking about it.
Okay.
So
Lay it on.
there is a band by the name of Geese.
Yes, I'm
You've
aware.
heard. That's kind of like the talk of the town, especially in alt rock right now. Very popular in like underground alternative band
Mhm.
Geese from New York. Very, very talented. I love Geese. I've known about Geese before their most recent album. I found out about them 2 years back.
Mhm.
Loved their stuff a little bit, and then I've grown to appreciate a lot more over time. And then with Getting Killed, their most recent album, very strong stuff. Very fun band, just very great band. I'm a big fan
Okay.
of Cameron Winter's solo stuff. Recently, there's been a lot of controversy. I don't know if you've heard about this because you're on the Twitter sphere.
Okay.
Basically, this marketing company called Chaotic Good Projects, the two headmasters of it were on a podcast. Essentially, what Chaotic Good Projects is essentially they do marketing stuff. They make
Okay.
things blow up. Long story short, they basically confirmed that Geese, all of the marketing and how they blew up and how they have had such a sudden rise to fame was all algorithmically and kind of
Uh-huh.
scientifically put together. So
Mhm.
essentially, the whole idea is they're an industry plant. They're a psyop. They are not as in the fanfare as it's presented because it's all marketing. Now, I'm not here to talk to you about Geese if they deserve the hate, if they
Yeah.
deserve the flack, whatever, because I don't think that's important. But it became up this question versus it was really exciting to see Geese rise to this authentic level of like,
Mhm.
wow, like this is a new rock band that's getting people really excited to be back in the genre. There was always this conversation of is rock dead, especially in the 2010s, 2020s, because there was shit like Imagine Dragons running the billboards.
Yeah.
Geese was a band that was exciting. They were exciting people about the genre. And now that this news came out, they have lost this sense of authenticity about what
Yeah.
makes
Yeah.
music exciting, whatnot. My question to you is how important is authenticity with that type of stuff with any medium, not just music, but movies as well? And I'll give you an example
Okay.
of something that I've seen firsthand from you, our experience watching After Earth. famously were watching After Earth and you were
Mhm,
enjoying it quite a bit, or
mhm.
not enjoying it quite a bit, but you weren't
I was
as
willing to give it a pat or a lot more
yes.
passes where you were firmly
Yeah, I
planted in
was
the
like, "This
mud.
is atrocious." You're like, "This isn't good, but I'm not killing it with my eyes."
Mhm.
And then forgot who brought it up, but essentially you
You did
searched up oh, I
you
did.
you're like, "How much do you think this cost in relation to Cloud Atlas?" Because that
Yeah.
was, like, the main thing that I was eating at the time, like, "Oh, that's my favorite movie of all time, Cloud
Yeah.
Atlas."
And then so we figured out that I believe Cloud Atlas was 70,000,000, right?
Like, a 70 to, like, 110, whereas
Yeah.
After Earth was, like, 150 to, like, 200.
Yeah, and considering that's half the runtime
Yeah.
and in your eyes, not even a fraction of the quality,
Yeah.
it made you immediately in that moment, you're like, "Oh, this is the worst piece of shit
Yeah,
ever."
yeah.
So, that's a clear example of there was some level of, "Okay, like, I'm enjoying this," but then, like, you figured out that it was just all a big ploy and it wasn't, like, authentically science fiction or authentically
Mhm.
made as, like, a film of
Yeah.
quality, and that just died in your brain
Interesting
instantaneously.
correlation. Yeah. So I'm so sorry, your question is how does like, do I value the
Yeah,
part of authenticity?
just talk to me about, like, does that impact your opinion on something? Like, if it's like if a
Yeah.
$100,000,000 studio brought together all of this crew and cast
Mhm.
to make what seemingly was, like, this found footage film that looked like it was made
100%.
for 3 bucks,
100%.
and you found
Yeah.
out, well,
Yeah.
its production, would that
Yeah.
kill it for you?
Without a single shadow of a doubt in my I 'cause I don't think, because then you bring this headspace into my mind of, is there a film that has done that and it still successfully won me over?
Mm.
And off the rip, I mean, maybe it's because I maybe call it a post-pandemic shift for me, call it the things that I love about the art that I ingest. I think it is the same sort of conversation about, like, to me, I'm not gonna say that I would have used every song they made in, like, edits I've done or in the projects I've made, but Radiohead would like, they would still be, like, my number 1. Like,
Yeah.
I actively, like, not listened to any of their stuff because I think, like, 95% of the albums they made outside of maybe, like, King of Limbs is a no skips perfect Anthony Fantano, like, 10 out of 10, you know?
Mm.
And, like, myself becoming a human being, not even where I'm at right now as an adult human being in the skin that I live in, my being from adolescence starting to become an adult is all melded sonically from a Moonshaped Pool. Like, when that album came out in 2016, that was the year that Trump got elected, and that was, like, the first time that, like, I didn't even know that I was wrestling with these thoughts of the house that I live in juxtaposed to who I am, but the music made me slow down. And I now, like, refuse to even engage with them anymore because of
Mm.
it is absolutely torn. Now we're talking about political beliefs, human beliefs, and whatnot, but you're talking, I think it all leads back to authenticity.
Yeah, because Radiohead's famously, like, an like,
Uh,
a very politically charged,
100%.
anti-authoritarian, like,
Mhm, mhm.
band.
Like, in Rainbows, I'm almost certain it's either in Rainbows or I think it's in Rainbows or Kid A. They released it randomly. They didn't have their record label even know. I don't even know if they're fully signed by that. They had literally dropped it on the internet,
I
and that,
think it
like,
was in
I think
Rainbows.
that's what I'm thinking, 2007 in Rainbows, I'm almost certain they just dropped it. They didn't believe any of the sort of machines and the machinations of the system prohibiting people or putting it behind paywalls. So yeah, no, 1,000%. Um, that is such an interesting. I would love, because I pop culture brain Alex, he did like a video I think about geese.
Yeah,
And I haven't watched. I kind of just scrolled it because I don't really know much about geese.
essentially,
But
that's was what he was talking
the
about.
concept though of their label, the people,
No, it
their
wasn't really a label,
management,
it was, like, a separate company that was hired to basically blow them up and get to get them the algorithms and to get them in the public
but
eye.
like, and again, like, that, this isn't a question for you to answer. Wouldn't that then therefore sort of tarnish? Because their whole point is they work behind the scenes to uplift other people, and if those people are uplifted, they've done their job.
Yeah,
They get compensated as
yeah.
so. Them doing that, doesn't that therefore, like, retroactively undo, like, the point of what they're doing? I mean,
I'm
they're already there. The job
Yeah,
has
I
been
mean, they're
done.
already there, like, people already know Geese. Now, granted, is there a new kind of stigma with the band and where they're
Mhm.
at? Maybe. Yeah, I would say so.
That's just so interesting. Like, what I guess my thought is, like, again, separate but also related. Like, the boat, because it was two people, right? Or just like one person
It
that, like,
was both people on the
so,
podcast.
like, did they say, like, "Oh, let's talk about this. Let's make this a focal point. Let's drop it live on air." Like, I guess that's my curiosity because I
Yeah.
think, like, as it always is, and with the way that the system is, I think in most recent time, or the thing that has affected me the most, is news junkets, for example. Now it is all influencer ran, where you are getting the most lazy, abhorrent, eye rolly bullshit like, um, director Ian Tucson of Undertone. What happens if your lead character was one of the characters in the portal scene in Avengers? You know, it's just like, who get like, what are we fucking talking about? But like that, like, and like the Mummy. Another thing that I've been thinking about is like they're holding screenings now for um like content creators,
Sure.
no critics, no nothing. And it's just that pendulum shift where it's like there are people that are getting paid so much money to look at things algorithmically that we are subject to know who is best needed and when it is. And it's like, to me, I think there it has brought me a lot of like discouragement where I'm like, motherfucker, like I'm really trying here. But it
Yeah.
also has brought me enough like comfort to know that like
You're not a cog in
it
the machine.
and it isn't up to me, right? Like
Yeah.
I make what I want to make, and there's all these content gurus, there's all these people telling you how to do it, but you are a part of the system just as much as I am,
That's
you
very
know?
true.
Um,
No, that's such an interesting point too, because I actually had a conversation recently with our friend Zakai,
okay.
and I was kind of making a joke actually before I found out about the whole geese thing about how like I was watching a YouTube real life or Instagram reel,
Yes.
um, of like a live performance from geese, and I was like, man, like Ken Winter is so cool. Like I wish I had that aura. I wish I had that vibe.
Mhm.
And then Zakai was like, you kind of already do. Like you have like the like the half mullet and the mustache, and you kind of have like the film, whatever. Yeah, yeah. But then I was kind of, like, really thinking about it, and I was like, well, like, yeah, like, everyone who's into film has this kinda look or vibe. Like, it feels like our look, what we watch, how we present ourselves is
Mhm.
so algorithmically influenced, and,
Yeah.
like, we really are just kind of, like, not unique in the ways we present ourselves. Now,
No.
granted, that is a very shallow way to look at yourself and the way you present, because obviously everyone's very unique and everyone has things that make them special. But at
Mhm.
the same time, like we all very much are chasing an aesthetic that
Mhm.
has been done a million times over with a
Mhm.
million people are the same as us or different as us. My point being, it's just it is so interesting the how we consume things and what we consume and how that influences us. All that being said, I think authenticity is important,
Sure.
but I also think that it very much like I don't listen to Geese because Geese is popular. I don't listen to Geese
Yeah.
because they were in my algorithm. If Geese is doing certain things to get more
Mhm.
attention put on them and it's working,
It works for you.
it worked for me to some degree, but also, like, there's probably someone that literally didn't hear about Geese until they performed on SNL, which probably was only a thing that was possible by them working at this company, getting more eyes on them, getting more
Yeah.
attention. That's exciting because someone now has a new favorite band
Mhm.
because of this algorithm system. So, if it comes down to just getting the music in people's ears, that's exciting. Now, in the terms of a production to a film, which I think
Mhm.
is a very different conversation,
Mhm.
it can kill it, but also I'm of the opinion of if it tricks me, it tricks me. Like, if it works, it works. Like, yeah, like, I would hate for it to like, there's something about, like, an idea of, like, let's say, a queer-led, film,
Mhm.
right? But everyone behind it is straight, like, in a boardroom, then it loses kind of its feeling
Yeah.
of what it means to be
100%.
queer and et cetera, et cetera. Like, that would kill it. But for the most part, like, I'm someone who, if they were able to get the results on screen without doing anything implorable
Yeah,
or
abhorrent for sure.
deplorable,
Yeah.
abhorrent, whatever it
Yeah.
may be, like, it is what it is, like, I think that certain tricks have to be done, and if you can I think authenticity is very hard to exude from
Mhm.
a fake place.
Mhm.
If you're able to do that, congratulations. Granted, will I kinda be looking at you with a stank eye being like, "That's not doesn't feel
Yeah.
very good?"
No, and I think, like, a lot of it, like and I do like, you and me agree, there are stopping points where it's no longer like, "Yeah, I get it, still gonna enjoy it." Scream 7 being a prime example.
Sure.
Like, there is a level of maliciousness and ghoulishness that is behind a production like that, that if you voluntarily, like, got a ticket to go see it, I'm gonna look at you differently. But, like, you bring up 2 things that or you bring up a thing that made me think of 2 things. One, I was talking to my very, very queer coworker, Sophia. Like, our queerness is kind of embedded into the conversations we've had, both jovial and serious, and talking about like the concept of like queer representation in media. And they were talking to me about how one of the things that allowed them to like step into their own skin or like made them feel comfortable when they were younger was Love Simon. But it's since been tainted because that is like the straightest man's version of a queer movie,
Sure.
you know? But that worked for them to then like their favorite movie now is Love Lies Bleeding, you know,
Yeah.
which is clearly a queer driven vehicle on and off the screen. Um so and then like you bring up something where it's like the perception if it got you to listen to Geese, then what does it matter? And you've created your own feelings, your own relationship that is singular, that is not algorithmically based, you know?
Exactly. And it's really interesting too because like that same conversation being had, it's kind of like one of my favorite movies of all time that we brought up before on the pod is Dancer in the Dark.
Mhm.
And as you know, time has passed, we've learned that that production was very hellish for Bjork
Yeah.
and Lars von Trier is a monster. But then I'm here to question like, okay, like do am I just equally of a monster to enjoy and to attach such a sentimental importance onto that film, knowing that
Mhm.
it wasn't ethically okay to make that how it
Yeah.
was made?
Yeah.
But then at the same time, if I don't acknowledge the sheer quality of performance and creation and technical prowess that I think that film holds,
Mhm.
I'm then now just immediately saying a film is only what a director is given, and that's
Yeah.
simply not
Oh,
true.
no, it isn't. It isn't. I mean, the if you were to write a contract, no matter what film budget, scale, or people involved, it is the moment you finish it, you are giving it up to the world. It's no longer your own. So
Sure.
that by that logic, it is not the director's film. It is also your film. And like recently, I was at a book off with my homie Austin.
Austin.
Shout out the goat Austin. We had a wonderful, fruitful, great day. And he'd brought up something that, like, I thought I knew, but I think it required someone to say it to me for it to be like, "No, yeah, Sam Raimi's a hardcore Republican." Like, actually, like, a hardcore Republican,
Oh, yeah.
has given a lot of his money to Republican senators and congresspeople, um,
Fuck yeah.
and to me, he was like, "Do you know that?" Does that, like, sort of, like, influence, like, the way you perceive it? And, like, you know, Spider-Man 2, like, we have had many a peaks with the Raimi-verse of the Spider-Man films
Yeah.
that we can make episodes upon episodes of, and it made me think about, like, does that recontextualize the fact that I confided my entire childhood and, to a larger extent, upbringing on films that were rooted by someone who may not even they see me in the street the way that I wanna be, they'd spit at me, you know?
True.
And it's like, no, because, like, again, we're not talking about, like, some fucking, like, Uwe Boll who, like, hates women sorta thing, you know? But, like, I think my relationship has been so rooted and I think the other thing too is, like, what has Geese informed you to be as a person? What does that help mend within your mind? What has that helped you become? What has that helped you heal? Like, I look at, like, the art Spider-Man 2, you know, like some of the worst moments, I think about, like, all the tenderness, the sincerity, and it's made me realize that I need to lead with a sense of love, with a sense of drive that is rooted in empathy rather than apathy,
Yeah, that's true.
so it's like terrific question, though.
Yeah.
Terrific fucking question, dude.
Um,
But you well, real quick, you didn't even answer. What's been on the rotation of your art lately on your
sure.
mind?
So for movies, like I said, I haven't watched much this week. In terms of just been on my mind, I was watching John Wick clips today on YouTube,
Mhm.
2 times speed. Was watching John Wick clips.
Uh-huh.
Um, yeah.
Really?
I mean,
Re
okay.
Well, okay, because firstly, one of the we got to be I remember visually uploading my John Wick 4 review. I see the thumbnail in the class right before you had approached me.
Oh,
Um,
that's awesome.
but I remember you were like, "I thought it was fine."
I do think it's I think it's just so long, but I
Mhm.
mean, it
Mm.
plays it plays Justice.
It does?
That's so cool.
Would we ever do a rewatch?
Yeah, I'll rewatch it.
Okay, you're awesome.
Um, but yeah,
Good
that
choice.
I think I really just like the villain in that movie. I think he's kinda just cool. I like the fact that he's kinda like he just gets it. He's like, "Yeah, this is a shitty situation. I'm still gonna fight you, but, like, sure."
The first one?
The Russian dad, yeah,
Oh, the Baba Ya you don't fuck with the Baba
yeah, he,
Yaga.
like, slaps his son, he's like, "You dumb fuck."
Yeah. Because yeah,
And
I
then
think
Willem Dafoe's and everyone forgets that Willem Dafoe's in the first
and he's
John Wick,
good.
and he's a
He's
badass,
really
yeah.
good in that movie. Um, Great choices. I mean, like, the Skarsgård fuck is in the 4th one. The 2nd one has, like, the Italian fuck, but the 2nd one has some of the best moments in the franchise, and it doesn't get too, which is funny because I think the fourth is like the biggest version of it, but that movie like consistently just hits for me. Whereas
Okay.
the third one I think gets too big for its own good, and
Mm,
the redundancy starts hitting me a bit more.
which one's the one where they're shooting the silenced pistols?
Second one,
That one's kind of baller.
and that's common, common in him.
That's
No,
cool.
that
That's
shit.
awesome. Anyways, Chad didn't kick
Chad Stokowski.
kick Batowski. Rewatched Final Girls. That was what happened
Yes,
recently.
you're yeah. Talk to me about that.
Love that movie, man. Just such a sweet little ode to the slasher genre. It's so unserious. And a lot of the humor is kind of like SNL core, but I don't know, it works for me. It's just so charming. In that movie, we said talking about it last time that like it kicks into high gear on the third act.
Yes.
Rewatching it, it actually kind of goes crazy the entire film. Like it's doing much more subtle things, but just really cool camera tricks and movements, and just it looks so colorful and beautiful. There's so many cool conceptual ideas. Like, do you remember how it goes to flashback in that movie?
No, but I will say that I do 100% agree with you because I'm recollecting the way that they jump into the universe with a screen on fire in the movie theater. That's sick as shit.
Yeah, and then do you like how they go back into a flashback is like everything starts melting around them into black and white. Like that's so baller. Anyways, yeah, love the Final Girls. Made me cry again. Go watch the Final Girls, guys, if you have not seen it. It's I don't know where it's at, but it's a great summer film.
Well, I do think it's a great summer film, and it's a great film that makes me think about movie theaters, which leads us directly into our question for the podcast. You can't deny that was a great fucking segue.
That was a Can I say this music one?
Huh?
Can I say a music that I wanted to show?
I'm so sorry.
Fucker. Um, my band Believe, spearheaded by Black Midi's Cameron Picton. You would get a kick out of this one. Listening to a track called In the Blink of an Eye. Very, very great stuff.
Hmm. Hmm.
Listening to Best to You by Blood Orange, a track that is so just funky and fun and just
Hmm.
things all good.
Hmm.
And then lastly, I want to give a quick shout out to Lip Critic. Got a ticket for their concert later in June.
Hmm.
Great little indie alt rock band that popped into my feed, and they're just so cool. I hope they're getting marketing buzz because they kind of deserve some more flowers. But yeah, some music and film in my mind.
Hell yeah.
Back
Well,
to email.
back to the email. Well, first, we actually have a viewer called in question. Hello, my friend. You are live on the air. How are you doing this evening, Austin?
I'm doing amazing. How are you two doing?
We're fantastic. Tyson had no idea that I was doing this. As he is listing off the art that he has been loving this week, I was like, I think I need to hit up the goat Austin. We're talking about our book off trip on the pod.
Yeah.
And how are you doing? How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Just been busy. Honestly, our book off day kind of inspired me because like I got like a really good stack of films and I've been watching good stuff.
Fuck yeah. You got you cycled through birth, then you were born, and then you dialed into the source code. How were those?
Yeah, and then I served and died with source code.
Yeah.
Those movies were fried. I mean, specifically, Birth relates to my question I want to ask you guys.
Yeah, yeah. Lay it on us, my
What's the
friend.
question, Austin?
Okay. So, do you interpret the ending of Birth? Just, I'm curious what direction you kind of take it with your, and you can answer this however. It can be vague or not vague, detailed or not detailed, whatever. Do you take the Birth ending more in the vein of it was really just like, is he actually like a reincarnated person or is it more psychological?
Okay.
Because I was watching it and I was like, I have a specific interpretation, but I know you guys have very unique perspectives. I wanted to get your takes.
Well, my friend, do you want to know the answer now, or would you like to wait for the release of the episode this Friday?
Ooh,
Because you will get first
ooh.
pickings, my friend. It's up to you, though.
I want. Okay, no, I gotta hear it now.
Okay. Okay. Well, I think I'm gonna lay Tyson's shell shocked right now. This is like meeting Uwe Boll in
This is
person that busts through his
crazy.
door.
I've just been ruminating on this all day.
Well, I think I kind of will leave that teed up to Tyson. I mean, he literally has the tattoo of Nicole Kidman on his arm. It is a film that has hit him quite a bit more than it has hit me personally. Um, but yeah, Tyson, that's a terrific question, phone call friend Austin. Um, what is your read on that?
Okay. Should I take the phone so Austin
Yeah,
can hear me
actually,
better?
yeah, you go hold the phone.
Hi, Austin. I'm here with you.
Yeah, what's up, dog?
Okay, so I'm gonna share an anecdote, and then I'll kind of
Okay.
explore, and I think it'll be something that the audience can relate to. So, the beginning of last year, I went through a really bad breakup. I actually went through a breakup with a partner that I had for over 3 years. Or sorry, that's not true. Right under 3 years. Um, and it was a devastating moment in my life. It was one where I really, really, really had to reflect on myself as an individual outside of a relationship and also as a man who's growing up as a young adult. I got into the relationship like right before graduation, so I had not lived as an adult as a single person. And so not only had I built so much insecurity up underneath certain things, but also I'd built such a strong codependency and lack of courage. And I went to this person for so much confidence in myself when it should have been embedded in me regardless. And so rewatching Birth, because I had seen it prior, not long beforehand, and then I'd watched it again not long beforehand, and then I went through this breakup, and then I rewatched it once more, during because technically I was on a break with the partner, and then I inevitably got break up with this partner. And what was so fascinating about it is it really watching that film, going through the break, I was holding on so deeply to any chance of just could this please work? Like, I want this to work so bad. I want this. I don't care if it's a bad relationship. I don't care if it's toxic. I don't care if I have to hate myself to be in it. Like, I just want this person. I want it so bad. And one thing that I've really come to learn about the film and love about the film is how it starts, because it doesn't start with the running in the snow. It starts with the bird on the window, and it's the man, and he's talking, and he's basically saying, I don't believe in miracles. If my wife flew up as a bird and said, "This is me," then I guess I'd have to. But if that didn't happen, it's not for me. And then it kinda comes into conversation, this concept of miracles and what's meant to be, and I'll never forget this experience I had where post-breakup, I was in no contact with this now ex-partner, and I remember I was driving to work one day, and the day prior, a couple weeks out from the breakup, but the day prior, I'd reached out to them basically asking, like, "I don't wanna do no contact because I just wanted some semblance of a connection with this person still, whether it was platonic or acquaintances or just to talk sometimes, I want it so bad." And they agreed to it, and even though it seemed very much clear that, like, they weren't super into the idea. And so I was driving to work the next day, and they were going to Coachella that year, and, that year, Charlie XCX was performing, and Charlie XCX is one of my favorite artists ever, and I had never seen her live, and I wasn't going to Coachella, and I basically made, like, a casual jokey comment as of, "Hey, like, see Charlie for me." And then she responded with, "Okay, like, like, what should I say?" And I was like, "Oh, like, tell her, like, that your ex-boyfriend is in love with them," or something, like, silly. And they're like, "Haha, yeah, okay, I will." And the response was so dry and so not there, and I remember being in the car, and just the fact that they had responded to me, I was this is an exaggeration, this isn't me fluffing up the story, this is a hyperbole. I was legitimately just laughing to myself because I knew that I was feeling so crazy, but I was also so gratified in that they were responding to me in the first place. I felt so small and helpless. I felt so trapped in my own psyche. I had this feeling of having to move forward, but also not wanting to so badly. And all I can do is just laugh about it hysterically. I felt like, a person that was out of my right mind. And so I say all that to say the ending to Birth is so fascinating because I my own experience with the film and my own experience in life itself is I really do think that it was just all happenstance, and our main character of Nicole Kidman wanted so badly for it to be real, and all of these things lined up so perfectly for it to be real that when it didn't, it just broke her. And it's this visual of her looking out into the ocean and just wanting to go and wanting to just whether it's death, whether it's escape, whether it's just it's infinite, just wanting to not be present in the space that you are. but at the same time you are trapped by land. You are unable to go. And what I've always thought is so fascinating about the ending was the fact that there was never like he whispers in her ear, never an inclination of what's said. You see this reaction from her that is so horrified and angry, but also shocked and almost orgasmic in a sense. It's such a fascinating look that I've thought about so frequently. And it's never even insinuated what he's even whispering to her in her ear. Is it reassurance? Is it something evil? And I think there is something so
Mhm.
battling about that. I don't know. I guess the there's always that question of was it a spell? Was there something that's working outside the realm of reality in the film, or is it legitimately
Mhm.
a psychological episode from both these characters? And I really just do view it as she wanted something to exist so badly, and it didn't come out to fruition. Now she's just left there to be stuck in a hard place in a rock where it's just between the ocean and between nothingness of the sand. I don't know. I That image was one that always stuck out to me on a first watch, and I think the ending is so relatively you just gotta push forward. I've always believed that you just have to
Mhm.
push forward no matter how much you wanna stay back and wallow in your grief. So, I'm not sure if I answered your question to the best of my ability, but I
No, no,
guess
no, no. You did. You did. That was great. That was actually phenomenal.
thanks. That obviously, I mean, it's on my fucking arm. It means the most to me,
Mhm.
but would you like to chime in with, at all anything or
I got nothing to say. That actually like that.
Really?
No, I mean, um, I didn't even know that story. That's crazy, Austin. You like unlocked this side character main menu screen that I didn't even know was there, dude.
Thanks, Austin.
Well, I
That's
mean, the film kind of inspired me in that way because, like, I just had such a deep emotional reaction after watching it, and I was like, I know you guys must have had that too, for sure.
yeah. I mean, okay, so like it is a bit difficult because I haven't seen it since Jesus, like January
2024,
2023 to
December.
2024 or 2023 then because I was still
Oh shit!
crushing.
Oh,
I
yeah,
was
you're right,
crushing.
There's been
yeah.
some distance.
There's been some distance. There's been some longitude with it. But I think the way that I feel about that film and the question of reality and fiction really stems from, I think, the conversations that you and I have shared about the power and the feel that you get when you watch Shyamalan's Unbreakable and how Glass
Mhm.
sort of dismantles it for me. Where to me, I am just a conduit for what the filmmaker and the story is saying. And I am with the characters, and whether what is happening is real or not necessarily isn't my concern, but if I feel that the character themselves believes it to be real. And in Unbreakable, for example, maybe Nick Dunn, I think his name is. I forget what it's like.
That sounds correct.
Something Dunn. Don't fully know if he has powers, right? There for everything that Mr. Glass, Samuel Jackson says, or whatever, anything that his son witnesses his father do, there could be the rebuttal that it was the adrenaline coursing through his veins, a miracle of him surviving on the train, but it was enough for a man who had brittle bones and no cure, for a son who
Mhm.
was losing his father by the wayside of his inadequate ability to step up to the plate and be a father and a husband. It was enough for a failing marriage, for this woman to be vulnerable with him again, to sleep in the same bed with him
Mhm.
again. And that is enough for me to believe, you know? And I
Mhm.
think the concept of like, if it's real or isn't, doesn't necessarily, it isn't like a question I'm asking. Not to say that I'm not trying to answer your question, but I think for Nicole Kidman and her character, I don't know what her name is in the movie, um,
Mhm.
but
Anna.
For Anna, it was
Yes.
enough to give her, maybe not to give her the answers that she didn't even need, meaning that like the ending is like one that like breaks my heart because it comes with a sense of like clarity, but a clarity that like, will she ever be happy?
It's also a sense of
Absolutely.
it's also a sense of longing in the sense too that I think the film does so well where like you find out that like her husband didn't love her. Like he
Hmm.
was actively cheating on her with
Yeah.
another woman. The other woman he loved more.
Hmm.
And so this whole push and pull of she's grieving this idea or this image of her husband that doesn't even exist. And then there's that line that the boy delivers where he's like, I can't be Sean because I love Anna. Like that's such a interesting line to put in the film, and then to have your last frame of the character legitimately, it feels guttural. Like it feels like she's trying to expel the
Mhm.
spell or
Mhm.
expel the love out of her, out into the like scream it out.
Mhm. And like I think to I guess finally like answer your question, the thing that I think most about the movie is the thing that I think a lot of people, either people who aren't as deeply love or in love with the art of cinema as perhaps like the three of us are, right? Or people who do love it that take issue with the scene of her in the bathtub with him. To me, by treating it as something that isn't real, I think like the argument could be made that it feels a bit predatory, but to me, that is the scene at its most to me, that by believing it is real, the scene is made all the more for me. The vulnerability, the honesty, the humanism that is dripping in the scene, the way like on a page on a script level, but also visually translated to the screen, it's to me one of the more palpably like reactionary images I have ever seen in my life because it's you see that image and you think of a mother with her son, and obviously I think about my mom and me, but when you believe that that is the reincarnation or your dead husband inhabiting the body of a boy, that to me is like the thesis of the film, which is like sift on the emotions that that makes you feel, right? And like it's a fucking juggernaut of a film, and one that I hope to revisit the DVD of. But yeah, thank you for the question, Austin. Great one.
I'm a sucker for it.
Thank you for sharing your guys' opinions. I appreciate you so much.
Of course, dog. I mean, if you have any other questions, just let us know. But thanks for being our first true guest on the Benefits podcast.
Of course, I know. I love your guys' stuff. Have me on anytime. I'm always having to send in some. I miss you guys.
Of course,
I
dog.
miss you, Austin.
We'll reconvene. We'll talk more. I'll respond to your voice messages. We'll plot something soon, okay?
Okay, for sure. I'll see you at Speed Racer.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right.
All right.
Have a good night, guys.
You as well. Good
Bye,
night,
Austin.
Austin.
Love you.
Love you, man.
Good night.
Oh no.
You're a fucking asshole.
I know, I hung up and that was caught on tape. Austin, if you're listening to this, I'm so sorry, my friend. I love you too.
The first call in.
How do you feel? That was so unplanned as you were talking about like geese and ducks and all the different birds. I was like, Austin had sent voice messages like 8-minute long about Bad Boys 2, and I read the transcript, said, "Hey Austin, you want to call real quick?" And he did.
That's beautiful.
Um
It's a spoiler alert warning for birth.
oh yeah, sorry, that actually ruins my next idea for the next episode. Is either that or who's the other director that I was gonna do?
Bong Joon-ho.
Thank you. Yeah. But thank you, my friend. And it's so funny because that was not the email that we were gonna talk about, but I'm so sorry. I think I'm gonna save that for next episode.
Yeah, well, a little behind the scenes. I think we're gonna record tomorrow, so theoretically, we won't even have an email
True.
for the next one.
So, my friend, whoever sent that out, I promise you are not unseen. You are, in fact, very much heard. But right now, we're having fun in space. We're having a lot of fun.
We're so fucking behind. We're so fucking
We're about to
behind.
hit the hour.
We're an hour mark in, and the thumbnail and the title hasn't even come into fruition.
100%, 100. But I think that's the beauty of this.
I guess so.
Okay. So I think to put some people up to speed, if you're this deep into it, you're like, oh my god, the title of this video. Let's fucking tap in.
Like, where's Gosling? We paid for Gosling.
Come out the closet. But we had been. Well, I'm so sorry. This was not even really planned. The first seed sapling of this being a relative concept was when Project Hail Mary was coming out, and the concept of, hey, maybe we'll make an episode on it.
Sure.
In our heart of hearts, we knew that it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
We watched it. We didn't even really get to talk about it.
We did.
I went with my partner. We saw it at like 10:40 or something like that, very late at night. I was tired. I had work early in the morning. You were with coworkers and such. We left. I saw it. You gave it a certain rating. I kind of don't want to spoil it for the pod because I want to wait for a second because I think the juxtaposition of the two movies here is powerful.
Sure.
We give it very different ratings. We've talked about it pepperings throughout, but not much. but this incited you to come up with the concept because this isn't Ryan Gosling's first outing in space.
No, so essentially, this was a concept that my first ever idea for this podcast ever officially. I've had like two ideas, and the first one was the fucking thumbnail
This is true.
of the digging in
Which
the
is
dirt.
core though, which is
Eh,
100%. But you didn't get any dirt in your nails,
Exactly,
bitch.
no dirt in my nails, and then now it's the Ryan Gosling video. But essentially, my thought process was, Liz speaks in hots and colds and fulls or empties, and
Uh-huh.
that is their charm, that is their character, but
Uh-huh.
it also is their biggest fucking punch you in the face, because when they say something that you disagree with, they're fully gassed, no brakes, and they're
Mm-hmm.
in the opposite direction.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a conversation, and it's come up a couple times where you were like, First Man is Ryan Gosling's best performance.
Yes.
I wasn't gonna sit here and argue with you because I hadn't seen First Man.
Yes.
So I was like, okay, this doesn't matter to me. And then you followed up with, it's Chazelle's best movie. And then I'm like, pause. And then I say, you don't even fully believe that. And then you go, yes, I do. And
Yes.
I'm like, well, La La Land's in your top 50, and First Man's not even touch your top 100. And you're like, so I think it's his best movie. So then I was like, fuck, now I need to watch this fucking movie. And so I was like, okay, let's watch First Man. But because of schedules and times, and we don't have a lot of time to see each other and watch everything under the
Mm-hmm.
sun, usually what we watch is kind of podcast oriented. So I was kind of thinking on Project Hail Mary, how it's very much still in the zeitgeist. And then it kind of
Yes.
came up with the idea of, okay, well, First Man and Project Hail Mary, both Ryan Gosling led films that are primarily in space.
Mm-hmm.
Now watching First Man, not truly the case. However, it's very space oriented.
Very much so.
And then I saw another video, another reel that was before I even brought up the idea to you, where it was, I forgot the podcast name, but the reviewer Seth Reviews on TikTok, on
Yeah.
Letterboxd,
The Real Talk. The Real
Real
Talk
Talk, thank you.
podcast.
Great guy. I saw a clip of theirs just out of nowhere where they basically were talking about, one of the guys was like, stop me when I say something that you disagree with. And he was like, Ryan Gosling's a top 50 actor.
Yeah.
Full stop.
Mm-hmm.
And then this guy was like, no, I think so. And they kept on going. And then this guy thinks that like Ryan Gosling is the best living actor right now.
Yes.
And so then that got me thinking, okay, well, is Ryan Gosling even, can be held up in that conversation of being debatably in the top 25 best actors? And then I started thinking about his movies and wanted to watch more Ryan Gosling stuff because he's in a lot of different projects. And so now we're here. We are
Mm-hmm.
at a Project Hail Mary / First Man Ryan Gosling oriented video. Long story short, leading up to this video, I watched a couple of Ryan Gosling, not too many. I wish I watched a bit more, but we saw The Place Beyond the Pines,
Correct.
which you had seen before. I had not.
Yes.
I had watched on my own time Half Nelson,
Uh-huh.
and then not for this video, but not long ago, you watched Stay with him and
Ewan McGregor,
Ewan
Naomi
McGregor.
Watts, Mark Forrester, Forrester directed film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've had Ryan Gosling in spades in
Mhm.
our circle, and that's not even including Project Hail Mary, which we had seen a while ago. You had seen, I believe, twice or three times? Twice. And now we just watched First Man today. So we
Yes.
are in a Gosling in our veins.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't really know what this conversation is geared towards. I don't know if it's a First Man conversation. I don't know if it's a Project Hail Mary conversation, or it's Gosling as an actor.
I think it's a conversation about perception, about time, about reflection, about stuff that like is injected into our veins. Me shaking you by the throat and saying, "This is who I am,"
And then causing me to have erection.
Yeah. Well, it's already there.
Oh,
I mean,
oh.
for some reason, it started when Austin called.
I love him so much.
I think I think I'm gonna ask you.
Okay.
Because I think you have more ingredients in the kitchen to make a meal.
I have hate in my heart.
And you also have hate in your heart. And I'm not asking you to forgive me. I'm asking you to understand. And
Shaking the bed.
I guess let me ask the question that I jotted down in my notes, okay? Because it's not that deep.
Okay.
Having watched First Man,
Okay.
does it make you more excited that he shot Dune 3 as opposed to Greg Fraser, who was supposed to shoot Dune 3?
No. First Man is Damien Chazelle's best looking film.
Wait, you said
No, I think Greg Fraser did such great work with Dune 2. I want to see him there for Dune 3. Linus Sandrin's a... Okay, wait.
Whoa.
How is this confusing?
No, but you're saying two extreme separate...
Okay, sorry. I'm not saying I don't want Lance Sandrin to be shooting Dune
Uh-huh.
3 or to have shot Dune 3 because I don't like his work. That's very much not true. I think he's an
Uh-huh.
extremely talented motherfucker.
Uh-huh.
And I'm saying I think First Man's Chazelle's best looking film to let you
Yes.
know that like I can acknowledge how phenomenally looking that film is. I'm not going to
Okay.
deny that at all. But my point still stands where I think Greg Fraser did such great legwork with
Uh-huh.
Dune 2 and
Uh-huh.
how spacious and utilizing the IMAX cameras. That film is one of our great films of all time, look wise. And that's something in talking about his great work they did with the Batman.
Uh, 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 I'm trying to think then because I didn't think about this because I thought either it was gonna be yes, yes or no, no, but it's a yes and then a no.
Like they're both going to do phenomenal. I
No,
just think that
I
like
agree.
I don't like
Does
change.
Fraser's best work in the Batman beat everything that Sandrin has shot?
What
Give me a second.
what has he shot? Like the
Um,
Paddington 3, Welcome to Baloo.
Baloo. Um, I mean, he shot. Well, I mean, none of the Chazelle stuff because, like, obviously, you say, um, no, I guess
Greg
it.
Fraser's the G idol of got
Yeah,
it. Like
yeah, no,
the Batman unfortunately is one of the best looking movies ever made.
no, I agree. I know,
And
I
Sandrin's
agree.
super talented. We saw the guy live. He's a fucking dickhead, but he's also probably autistic and probably loves his camera specs, and that's
Okay,
exciting.
okay, okay,
That's
okay,
really, really cool.
okay, okay. With that being said,
Perception,
no, 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 no.
erection.
I know what I'm gonna ask. Shut up, bitch. Coming out of this, do you still think I'm the dumbest motherfucker in the world?
That this is his best movie.
Yeah.
Not the dumbest motherfucker in the world, but I like heavily disagree. Like strongly disagree. And here's the thing. First Man is his most different of we'll talk about his four, because the other two don't
Eh,
fucking matter. Other
I think
two,
it's like one or
one,
two. Yeah.
sure, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
What about his four? I think Chazelle's a super talented dude. I really admire Babylon.
Mm-hmm.
I think that La Land and fuck. I think that Whiplash and La Land are two of the best films of the 21st century, hands down.
Okay.
I think that he's one of the few young directors to have two of the best films of this 21st century,
Mm-hmm.
hands down. Not
Mm-hmm.
many young filmmakers have that accolade. I'm not the only one singing that song.
No, I
Everyone,
mean, most people do.
most college adults, men and women alike, adore Whiplash. And La La Land might be the most pivotal film in terms of getting people more in tune with the aspect of filmmaking and older film and colors and
Mm-hmm.
loving of the process of making film and loving art that's niche to you.
Mm-hmm.
No film might encapsulate that in a younger audience like La La Land ever.
Mm-hmm.
I think the guy is super talented, super important, and I think that First Man distinctly is such a different piece of film. And so I think it's very not very easy, but I think it exists a reality where you can look at it and see it as his most mature and see it
Mm-hmm.
as his most stabilized and kind of not messy, but very down the barrel, looking at it and looking at something very palpable, but also
Mm-hmm.
very sad
Mm-hmm.
and very powerful.
Mm-hmm.
But watching La La Land and Whiplash as of recent, Whiplash works as an indie film. I think it's one of the best indie films ever made. I think that film is so lightning in a bottle, amazing. The fact that it's produced by Blumhouse is so fucking baller.
This is true.
Push it to the side. La La Land, I hate to be that guy. I really like because I hate to be that guy. I like to have contrarian opinions, like to be like, oh, da, 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 da. Unfortunately, La La Land is one of the best movies ever made. I seen that movie so many like I've seen it 4 times now. My most recent watch, I was able to acknowledge, no, like Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone are doing such phenomenal work, whether
Mm-hmm.
it be an ode to the old film of the 60s or just old, old school golden era of Hollywood, and
Mm-hmm.
you have these all these modern sensibilities. It's so exciting. It feels so like how has someone not done this before? People have done this before and just not as successfully. It's so
Yeah.
energetic. It's directed like a fucking madman. Like
Mm-hmm.
that is such a core film.
Mm-hmm.
First Man exists and it is good. It's actually, I'm sorry, it is great. It is a great film. However, the energy, the the stylization, the confidence of La La Land just speaks to me so much more and speaks to I would probably say so many more people
Yeah.
compared to the First Man.
Yeah.
I'm grateful that I finally saw First Man, but I don't even think it's a question in my mind, like at all.
Then what is your favorite Gosling performance?
And here's where we get here.
Uh-huh. Yeah. You know all roads led to this.
I don't even know.
Okay.
Talk to me we're kind of
So
we're
oh,
kind of weaving in and
oh,
out.
okay, so okay.
Talk to me
Uh-huh.
about Gosling
Yeah.
just as films that he's been in that isn't a First Man or a Project Hail Mary.
Okay. I mean, when you had posed this idea to me, um, you were like, "I need to watch Drive." You haven't watched Drive. You haven't watched any Refn, and that
Uh,
breaks my heart.
no Refn.
Um, and I was against that idea because I think Drive is great. I think it's really good.
Whoop.
I think it's really good. But for what I think the greatest attributes of Gosling are, is his ability to conform. And it's fascinating because you say like, "Oh, that is Gosling." Like, like no matter what, like he can't be a Daniel Day-Lewis where you no longer see Day-Lewis, that is Reynolds Woodcock. Um, I don't think I fully agree, but I don't even think I fully disagree with you because there's certain like what he does in Only God Forgives, I think is like so fucking marvelous. And when you look at like the tapestry he has weaved throughout his career, um, where like I'm assuming like he plays like a three-dimensional human being and like a half Nelson. Um, but then he plays like a heartthrob in the notebook. Or he
Or
plays
Stupid Crazy Love.
Crazy Stupid Love.
Ooh.
Jacked up, oiled, sexy. But then he's able to shrink himself. And what I do disagree with you on is step out of the DNA of his skin in a way that I think the closest person now that is doing it is Jacob Lordy, where it is almost like he is stepping in a very different way because Jacob Lordy is like 6'6" and like a hulk of a man, so like playing Frankenstein works. But he takes himself out of the skin where you are almost weaponized at his charm for something like Lars and the Real Girl, where you see a man who is so mentally troubled and hasn't dealt with and navigated the things in his head to where then he has grown to be in love with this doll. And you see his boyish charm, his beauty and his suaveness, and he melts within that. Or he becomes this stone that you have to really try and decipher where he has those eyes that are not very symmetrical and he looks like a Kafka painting and it looks so beautiful. Like he was my true first man crush. And he interweaves himself throughout that, doing Place Beyond the Pines, and then he has systematically done bigger and bigger films or more accessible films. But he's been doing that from the jump. The Notebook being his big like debut that everyone is like, oh my fucking god, that's Ryan Gosling. That was 2004.
Mhm.
So he's always done a one for you, a one for me. The difference being, as he has stated with his wife Eva Mendes, as he has started to raise his children, he has pivoted more to being a bit more of an accessible actor in movies that don't require to go to such depths.
Sure.
I'm not going to agree or disagree to whether that's good or bad. I will say his output definitely hasn't been indicative of what I think his best traits are. I'm not watching a Fall Guy and saying, fuck, man, Ryan Gosling's amazing in that. I'm not watching a Gray Man and saying, fuck, that guy's amazing in that, you know?
That's true. What I will say though is that like let's go down his filmography, right?
Got it.
So there's Barbie. He was
Yeah.
nominated for an Oscar for that.
Yeah.
La La Land.
Yeah.
Project Hail Mary.
Uh huh.
The Notebook.
Uh huh.
Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Drive.
Uh huh.
Crazy Stupid Love.
Yes.
The Nice Guys.
Yeah.
Fall Guy. Haven't seen The Big Short.
Okay.
Then there's Blue Valentine, and that's one that I kind of want to talk about because I would argue out of all the ones I've seen, that one feels the least Gosling.
Got it.
Because maybe it's the receding hairline that they give him in the second half of the film.
Mean.
Maybe it's because there's something really sleazy about his charm in that second half and how it's utilized, and just
Yeah.
like the dirt bag that he is and how he orchestrates himself. It feels so removed from what Gosling is good at, which is these more quiet but charming figures that he can portray.
Mhm.
But in Blue Valentine, it almost feels like it's turned on its head and it becomes like your least favorite uncle at a family gathering.
Yeah.
And that is really interesting because when I look at his other films, obviously like there's Lars and the Real Girl and whatever.
Mhm.
But like of everything of note, for example,
Mhm.
I haven't seen things like Song to Song. I don't think he's playing much of a different character in that one. I
No.
would be shocked.
Mhm.
I'm still chomping at the bits to watch Gangster Squad, but I'm gonna guess
The
again.
Ruben Fleischer film, yeah.
It feels as if he very much because then I was thinking about okay, the variety in his filmography, and he does have a lot
Yeah.
of different
Oh
things.
yeah.
how do you go from The Notebook to Only God Forgives, and then you kind of sprinkle in Blade Runner 2049, but then you're also over here doing The Nice Guys,
Mhm,
but then you're going full left wing with Barbie, but
mhm,
then you're kind of in the middle with La La
mhm,
Land. Like he's
mhm,
everywhere on the map.
mhm.
When I really think about his performances and what he does and why Ryan Gosling is cast as something comparatively to any other white
Yeah, yeah.
actor his age, he is able to convey such a level of sadness through the charm. Almost like
Mhm,
I'm trying to charm you, I'm trying to get you to have a little bit of a crush on me, but
mhm.
underneath I'm hurting. And I think that's every single Gosling performance that I think is strong, he communicates that. Besides Barbie.
But you would even, like, say, like, because where, like, I'm gonna disagree is, like, his role in Blade Runner 2049, there's no charm, and that's the point.
I guess like it's more so like he's a very handsome Hasberg life.
Yeah.
I think, but what really sells it is his quiet puppy dog eyes, like
The
his quiet,
Yeah.
like,
Okay.
help me,
Uh-huh.
or like he's able to convey it's gonna be okay, or like I'm empty and voidless. Like I think he's very much
Mm.
an eye actor, which is
Mhm.
kind of
No,
crazy because
100% agree.
um and I mean like that's existent in things like Drive, which even though I haven't seen it, I know that he's mainly
Mm.
quiet during
Mhm,
that
mhm.
film. I know he's mainly quiet during Only God
Yeah,
Forgives.
yeah.
Um, in things like Half Nelson, he has that charm as a mask, but underneath he's a hurting addict.
Okay.
The Place Beyond the Pines, very much a quiet, more stoic character. He has his louder moments, but that character is much more quiet.
So there's something underneath.
There's always something
Yeah,
underneath with
yeah.
him. The ones where he's not doing it and what it kind of seems like his career is leaning
Is
into
pivoting to, yeah.
Project Hail Mary,
Uh-huh,
Barbie,
uh-huh.
The Nice Guys, The Fall Guy, Gray Man. Those are like his most
Yeah.
recent works. I mean, what? So the Nice Guys was 2016, so
Mhm.
that was the same year as La La Land.
Yeah, and I mean, like, he has, like, Song to Song, I think that still came out 2016, but, like, the First Man, I think really, like, details, like, his last, like, toothpaste out of the carton of
Yeah.
just that level of interiority. Because I
So
could be totally wrong, but I think.
sure, because Blade Runner 2049 is
Oh,
2017.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So when I think about his best performance for
Mhm.
me, I have this question of, okay, was it the one where he's doing the most different thing, or is it the one where he is doing the best thing that Ryan Gosling serves to do?
Mhm.
And I'm gonna come out and say it. I do think he is a top 15 actor working today. I do truly
Yeah.
believe that. I think I get excited when he's attached to a project. Granted, he's not attaching himself to very good
No.
projects. His next project is a Star Wars movie
S
as a
a
pilot,
gajillion said the Israeli
like
occupation for sure.
quadrillion to Israel,
Uh-huh.
like insanity.
Oh, yeah, directed by Sean Levy, like, the IDF leader
Fucking
himself.
awesome. I'm not watching The Gray Man. Heard it was
It's
atrocious.
terrible. From what I've seen, like, 45 minutes, terrible.
The Fall Guy looks
It's
fine
cute.
at best.
It's cute.
I would probably hate it. Knowing me, I'd probably think it's annoying.
Annoying. I don't think you'd hate it, though.
So, like he is such an interesting guy because like he is so very talented. He's picking the wrong things, man. It's because he's a family man, whatever. So
Yeah.
we're all a family guy, we're all a Peter Griffin. But at the end of the day, like he does have juice, and I do think that his best work far outweigh his worst work. And when I
Yeah.
really think what performance of his gives me the most juice flowing, I do think it's La La Land. I think it's the
Okay.
best of every world he's balanced in. I think you have this quiet somberness in things like Blade Runner 2049 and Half
Mhm.
Nelson,
Mhm.
but you also have these extreme kind of cartoonish but also very charming aspects of Barbie, The Nice Guys,
Mhm.
um, and whatnot. Like I think why Project Hail Mary didn't work for me fully,
Mhm.
and it's a tonal thing, and kind of when you were saying you don't want to spoil my rating, I think it was fine. I think it's a 6 out of 10. I wish I liked it more. There's a lot of attributes that I love about it,
Mhm.
but I do think that its tone is a bit too cheerful. And I think when you have a leading man like Gosling in the role, you can just let those quiet moments really sit with him. And there wasn't enough quiet with him. There wasn't enough somber isolation that really could have been encapsulated well with an actor of his caliber.
Mhm.
It wasn't present, and I think a lot of people who have an issue with the tone of that movie kind of sing that same song as well. I think that there is so much power in just letting Gosling be a screen presence, what he does so well. I just don't think Project Hail Mary lets him live in that for too long. Now, granted, it's a longer movie, so it's not like it should have been longer, but I do think the tone that they were going for just isn't for me. And I
Yeah.
think tonally what I'm looking for is a bit more akin to a First Man. Um, or yeah, no, yeah, First Man.
Mhm.
But that being said, I think what makes Gosling work so well for me is that charming facade, which covers her. And I think that maybe it's the ending of La La Land, maybe it's just
Mhm.
his little mannerisms or his just I don't know. I think it's not only a taxing role
Yeah.
physically with the dancing and the choreography,
Mhm.
but there really is like such a special thing about being able to lead a modern day rom-com
Mhm.
that is also doing these musical numbers and these very adventurous things with the camera work, and he's kind of playing a little bit of a joke of a character, but he does it so well, and I think it makes Gosling so powerful as an actor to me, and that's just encapsulated perfectly in that role.
Okay.
You sing the song, and I assume you still sing it.
Yeah.
First Man's his best performance.
Oh, I think it's generational.
Sure.
I think, like you talk about like his eyes. I think he is like the greatest eye actor of all time.
I can agree with that.
And I will agree that like there is a part of me that does take some umbrage and or like take some sad melancholy at the fact that like he has shifted his career. I do fundamentally disagree because you are of a similar mindset that a lot of people have about Project Hail Mary, which I do think flattens a lot of the film and I think what it is doing, at least for me at least, where this deep into their filmography, I think Lord and Miller have such a great hold with how humor is imbued with that, which funny enough, I think like the screenplay works so well for me because it's an extension of what Gosling does. Brett, what he does best is what you could take for face value is something, and if that works, it works. But I think there's a lot going on underneath, and how that plays into the film, and albeit like it is a lot more lighter than I had expected. And if I were to do it, I would have done it a little differently. But for what I got, I still think like he is one of the most enigmatic just charming individuals that the industry has ever had. And on top of it, I think it is just a pristinely made movie. Greg Fraser, I mean, he's acting aces. He's doing aces in
Mhm.
his role as the cinematographer.
I agree.
I love what Daniel Pemberton does on a soundscape level. I think the movie is helmed with such a craft and a commitment that for like 2 hours of the film, if you got to see it on 70 millimeter, it looks gorgeous. And again, like I gave it a 4.5 the first time. I still stand with it. I give it a 9. There are things that I would have liked to be different, but I think on a performance level, it is one of my favorite Goslings. But that is saying like to me, my favorites up there. I would put a La La Land again. And this is like you'll never understand my science. You never will, and that's okay. My math will never correlate for you.
You got mental math.
La La Land is one of the greatest films ever made. Like I've seen it maybe close to a half dozen times, and it just ripples for me every single time. And I think what First Man does is it's the one that feels the most challenging, and I say that so loosely, to get through out of all of his films because of its different approach tonally, stylistically, visually, narratively. But it's the one that I've thought about the most out of all of them. But I do agree that I do think La La Land is my favorite and your favorite Chazelle, but I can unequivocally stand by the fact that I do believe First Man is his best film.
Mm,
On a screenplay level, I think that's one of my all-time favorite endings. The shot that everyone talks about is such a worthy shot where he lets go of the bracelet. I think the movie lives and breathes on the final last 5 minutes of that film, and it's a release that you can't even fully have an exhale of, but it's one that like to take a biopic, like, that might be like, I think it is my favorite biopic of all time, where, like, to take a story about a man, but talk about it through the lens of him being the perfect person because he is the most inhuman father there ever is. Um, it just, like, it gets me, like, I think about that far more than I do, and I think, like, what makes this such a noteworthy thing is Chazelle is an ending filmmaker. Like, he is a person in all 4 of his fucking movies. The beginnings of his films and the ends are worlds apart,
that's
and
true.
the journeys that you take to get there are hugely tumultuous rides. I love Whiplash. The movie is made for me and blossoms to being a really great film for me in those last 15
I
minutes.
agree.
This is a thing that I know we disagree on. I just think Miles Teller is good in the film. I wish I could love him. And I know your retort is, when was the last time you watched that movie? I watched it back in 2023. I still feel the same way.
He's just so autistic. It's awesome.
And I wish I could agree. I have yet to watch quite literally anything that Miles Teller has been in, and I'm maybe shooting myself, but like I've never fallen in love with him in anything he's ever done. And that's just the way I stand. I think J.K. Simmons is magnetic. Everything in the room when he's rehearsing with the class is fantastic. Again, the best shot of that film is his father looking at him at the exit of the auditorium. I think that is like the moment that makes the movie for me. And then obviously, like we saw La La Land together live in a theater. I love Babylon. It's the one that I would love to rewatch the most. I do not like the ending. I appreciate the swing. The ending is like no, it doesn't do it for me. There's things like individually it reminds me reminiscent of A Beau is Afraid, where he is vomiting, dispelling bile. And if I watch the scene with Nellie Leroy and Diego Calva's character and all of them with the snake, I'm like, that's sick. When you put it all together and truncate it, it doesn't all flow. But then like one of my favorite scenes in of the decade is the one shot and the whole dialogue that Brad Pitt has, and he goes to the hotel and
Yeah.
blows his brains out. It's exceptional stuff. It just doesn't all work for me. With First Man, it is a film wherein I think like the movie kind of sets what it is trying to do. The center point of the film, the moment he goes into the test simulator, he passes out, has a dream about his daughter, and he's like, I want to go again. Again, you could read that as someone who just wants to go to the moon and wants to do the mission. I think it is a man craving that sense of release by getting to see his daughter again. And he uses that as the drug. And what he wants is to just feel that moment rather than work towards processing that grief healthily in a way that a father should to be a good father and a good husband.
Yeah.
And it just fucking hits for me, dude. Like, all the I think it works because all the space stuff, all the stuff in the room, like he is just so good in it, but there is an intent behind his eyes. And I think like why that final moment also works is because for 95% of him being on the moon, you don't even see his face, but every single second you believe that that is Gosling. That is him. And like you feel it. His every movement he has this force to himself that he has built over his entire career that makes it all believable when he has the visor over and you don't even see it. Um, and it's just that moment is to me his quietest, his most aching out of all of his endings. And it's the one that I've thought about the routinely the most. And I think it's just my sensibilities of what I appreciate the most in movies. And I know like you and I have a very similar pattern of that where we like the more quiet stuff. But like La La Land, I will agree. Some days I'm like, holy shit, that's like the greatest thing anyone has ever touched with human hands. But like where my mind retreats to isn't the treadmill, but the walk.
Sure. And that's so interesting because I think we have the exact, or not I won't say exact opposite, but I think your experience with First Man is mine with Whiplash a little bit because
Sure, sure, sure.
I really do think First Man doesn't earn its ending.
That's crazy.
I think its last 50 minutes are exceptional. I'm not even going to disagree with you anything you said. I when you were speaking about the whole Ryan Gosling movement thing, I can 100% agree with that. Like I was literally going to ask you when we were watching it together, like, do you think he's actually in that suit? Because it
Mhm,
feels like he's in that suit.
mhm,
Um, but I don't think the movie before that is all that engrossing or interesting. I'm not interested as in
mm,
Neil Armstrong as a figure.
mm,
I can't feel tension when I know it's a biopic. I know he's actually gonna live by the end of it, or the
mm.
danger is not really existent.
Interesting.
It doesn't work fully for me. I was never invested in the story. It looks exceptional. Like I said, Chazelle's best looking film. I'm not gonna argue with that at all. The score is great. Hurwitz always doing great work. But for me personally, I just don't think that the movie earns how exceptional that last 15 is. Whereas with Whiplash, I'm so engrossed by everything. And then I do agree with you that the ending is what makes that movie. Like if the ending was a little bit weaker, it would
Mhm,
not be as phenomenal a film as I see it to be.
mhm.
So, I mean, all that to say, he's a phenomenal
He
filmmaker.
is.
I do think First Man is a performance that Gosling is able to blend a bit more into the character more instead of the Gosling sensibilities. He's not
Mhm.
very charming in this movie, which is
That's
fine.
the point,
It
yeah.
doesn't really make sense for the character, so I
Uh-huh.
think that he's able to do a bit more transformation.
Yeah.
But that's not to say necessarily that I don't like when Gosling can be Gosling. Like I do think he's the best part of Barbie. He is so
Yeah, I
fucking
agree.
funny in
I
that
agree.
movie. On a rewatch, I watched that recently, just kind of the second half of it, or like the last, 60 of it. So funny, dude. He's
Mhm,
so good in it. He's so comedically gifted, and he's so just on par course for just being a great person to laugh at and with.
Yeah.
Um, everyone kind of points to the nice guys as, like this hidden gem that didn't get its love that deserved. I don't think the movie is that good, but I would be an idiot if I
Mhm.
didn't acknowledge how fucking funny he is in that movie. But the dude has gas, man. Like even watching Half Nelson,
Mhm.
he you haven't seen that in a while.
No.
You need to revisit it. I
Yeah.
think you would have a huge love for it. He is a he is unreal. And there's a
Mhm.
scene, everyone knows what I'm talking about who's seen it, with
Anthony Mackie.
not that scene. It's towards the end,
Okay.
but it's essentially like kind of like it's like it takes place in a motel.
Mhm.
He gives this look. It's a top Gosling look ever. It's he is always just working at such a high level with these characters. And
Mhm.
even though you might see him like, oh, that's Gosling, like it doesn't really matter that you can see the actor in the time because they're acting their ass off so well that you
Sure.
don't even care. Um, but like Blade Runner 2049, he might be the best part of that movie too. I love how that movie
Oh,
looks.
I 100 again, like, I think that movie, like, does start to slowly fall like, the seams start to become much more noticeable right before the big climactic, like, showdown.
Sure,
There's, like I don't know if you remember a woman, like, a robot that, like, meets Ryan Gosling and, like, starts talking about, like, an uprising and an insurgency of,
I
like
think so. Yeah.
and I'm like, "Oh, I'm not fucking with this much at all." No, he is far and away, and I guess I was thinking, like, is that your favorite where, like, his subdued performance, is that, like, your favorite of his? And with this, like, First Man,
Well, I guess that's the side of Gosling I've seen the
the least
least
yeah, I
because I
guess,
haven't seen any Wine Refn, and you just said how great he is in Only God Forgives.
exceptional in that movie.
So I really feel like I have to watch more of him in that
That
aspect.
is true because you are, like, missing out on, like, a Lars, that, Drive, even though, like, I have my issues with it,
He is so good though in The Place Beyond the Pines.
he and again, I wanted to show you that because, like, that is one of the only films outside of it being marketed like he is a lead, wherein, like, he is in that movie as like narratively speaking, it's as if Derek Cianfrance knew that and said, "But I'm not going to let you have that."
Yeah, yeah, and I think that his yelping is great in that movie. I like when he says, "Get start praying,
Yeah,
start praying."
yeah, yeah. And I think to me it is indicative of we talk about like his literal being in these movies are the best part of them. His performance in those first like 30 to 45 minutes before he gets killed. Sorry, I'm spoiling a fucking 15-year-old movie. Grow up, nerds. Um, you feel his like spirit and like the belly of him. That is the thing that then follows suit with the rest of the movie, and that is the thing that like translates. Where to me, I think about like he's like, I just has my kid had ice cream yet?
Yeah,
I want to feed him some ice, and I'm like, that is that Dane DeHaan, and that is Dane DeHaan's like power as a performer in that movie. But it's like, no, that is Gosling's character's kid. You know, like
yeah,
it all translates, or like it makes sense that like Bradley Cooper's character is filled with so much inside as he carries his photograph. Like he's and that movie's just terrific. Like I've been thinking a lot about that movie too. Just like a Head and Shoulders profoundly terrific movie.
yeah.
And I wouldn't even consider that Cian France's best movie.
Yeah, and you got Blue Valentine, which, like I said, Sleazebag. He's working, in tandem with fucking Carrie Mulligan. No,
No,
Michelle
no,
Williams.
we've had that conversation
The
before though, and
fucking
I agree.
$1 million conversation, and everyone points to that scene where she's like, "I got nothing left for you. I got
Hmm.
nothing."
Hmm.
They are both so exceptional in that movie. That movie has such a woozy feeling. I don't know when was the last time you
Woozy
saw
good
it.
time. Yeah, yeah. Maybe like 2020.
I'd revisit it.
Hmm.
Especially with the more because you speak about Derek C in France, that's his bread and butter right
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
I would say that's my favorite of his. That movie just it feels like a dream, but also it feels way too real. It's like a fever dream almost.
Sure.
There's like this sequence, I don't know if you remember it, like can visualize it, of them also finding up in like a love hotel
Yes,
and like it like there's
yes,
like a water bed
yes.
and just looks very hazy and neon.
Fucking crazy filmmaker,
Yeah,
dude.
no, it Gosling is exceptional, and I think I can stand on the fact that he's at least top 15 actor because I think it's really easy to get burnout on actors who are not doing their most interesting work nowadays. Like I think,
Uh-huh.
for example, Tom Cruise. Like if you have Tom Cruise burnout and you're like, there's no way he's a best whatever actor, That's understandable because he's done Mission Impossible for so long.
Mhm.
If you're not a big fan of, Iñárritu stuff, Digger
Mhm.
probably doesn't very much excite you.
No, for
But
sure.
at the same time, you have to acknowledge he wrote the codex.
Yeah.
He don't you ever say his name again.
Mhm.
He's in
Mhm.
he's in the bread and butter.
Mhm.
I think Ryan Gosling's a very similar actor where he's gonna have this phase in his career that we're all probably not gonna like.
No.
No one's sitting here being like Ryan Gosling in a Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
Not serious people, at least. Um,
Literally.
but no, I think he will forever live as just a sad little guy, and I just want to hug him. Like I, you should never form a parasocial relationship with these guys. I hope so badly that he's a good dude. I hope he's a good father.
Oh, I think he
I hope he's
is.
a good husband.
Yeah.
I like him so much through the screen, but I
Mhm.
really hope he just can justify me liking him that much by being a good dude.
No, I 100% agree. Again, I like the more like quiet, contemplative, brooding, just eyes acting. And I think like when Dune Part 2 comes out, or sorry, Part 3 comes out, we'll do a couple rewatches of Villeneuve's filmography. I would like to rewatch like 2049. I want to rewatch for because you still like we watched Incendie together, right?
Yes,
We,
we we you didn't no, you did revisit 2049, didn't you? I swear on my life you
I
did.
did, but we didn't.
Oh, again? Are you gonna watch it again?
Well, yeah, because like you still haven't even seen the first one, and like that.
Blade Runner?
Yeah.
Oh, sure, I guess, whatever.
But, like, also, I wanna show you Polytechnique. When was the last time you watched Prisoners, motherfucker?
I was a wee lad.
And that weed smoker movie, one of my all-time favorite endings, an exceptional ending.
Yeah, we'll throw up on it.
I agree, 100%, but, like, yeah, I mean, what a crazy episode. We went kind
Yeah,
of
whatever.
everywhere.
So he is in your top 15.
Yes, the question is, will he stay? I don't know, because I do think that, like, not even, like, trying to bring it back, but to, like, authenticity and like he's being true to himself, but that therefore means
Mm.
he's like he is charting a path that I don't know if I'm going to be on
A
the boat of.
less interesting actor.
Yeah, because it's like if he maintains this, it no longer is like Ryan Gosling's in this, dude.
It's like,
And who knows? Maybe when his kids get old, he will jump back and he'll be in like Digger 2 or something like that,
that's cool.
But like where he is now, I loved him in Project Hail Mary. There's like a plethora of movies that I would put above it, but I think he's excellent in that movie. But yeah, no, there is some cause for concern when he is like chugging along with Sean Levy, like arm in arm. Like, no, dude,
Yeah.
no.
Do you think that because maybe I don't want to spoil a future episode like down the line, far down the line,
Uh huh.
but you have said that your favorite performance ever was Andrew Garfield in Silence, your best
Yes.
performance from an actor.
Yeah.
Um, I'm curious, do you think because by proxy that performance from Andrew Garfield will always have him in as one of your favorite actors of all time,
I agree.
no matter what.
Yes.
Do you think that Gosling's best performance in your eyes, which is First Man,
Hmm.
has him up to that standard where he will forever be one of your favorite actors of all time? Or do you think that it's not strong enough to justify him holding that space for you?
I think it's unfair for me to not treat them by the way of the filmmaker, which is then like, oh, Spielberg, for example. Like his early 2000s period, unreal. But then he does like BFG, Ready Player One, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. So I'm like, eh. But now he's hitting this streak on this later stage of his career. So I think it's pockets. But like to me, with those pockets, he's still one of the best filmmakers of all time because he has directed some of the greatest movies of all time.
Sure.
Um, and unless Gosling like turns to be some sludge monster, which I doubt he is, yeah, I could assuredly stand on that. I hope he's able to do some things that like really are in his wheelhouse, but out of his current wheelhouse and how that folds. Because it's so funny because like imagine like you and me in 2015 talking about like Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. We're like, great movie, let's say Project Hail Mary, you loved, but you're like, fuck, I
I miss old
miss
Spielberg.
old.
Or fuck, the other one, yeah.
Who'd you say?
Cruise.
Who'd you say?
Cruise.
Oh, okay. Um, and it's like wait some time, because it's like there's no way that he is saying "say la vie" to it because it's also like, and I was thinking about this for some reason. I think it's because I saw an interview the other day about like nobody does acting that really is good at it passively. These are like 16-hour days, and if you're top billing, like This is a pretty rigorous thing. Like again,
Sure, you
there's
have
plenty of
to.
like blue collar workers that are probably going crazy right now, but like it is hard shit. And like he
Sure.
shows up and he had done it up until that point for like 15 years in a dozen films, all varying in degrees of performances from Gosling, but are all going places.
Very
He
true.
he he, he can't just like fucking dispel of that, you
Well, I
know?
also imagine too, like doing a film like Project Hail Mary, which is so not only long, probably has a lot of footage, a lot of coverage,
Yeah.
but also completely led by him. He's like in what, like probably 98% of the
Yeah.
footage.
Oh yeah.
So to that degree, it's like that's all him. Like he has to lead that. That's a large part of his day
Yeah.
is all right, well, 18-hour day and I'm here on set and I'm here forever or whatever, yada yada
And
yada.
he is
So
good in it. Like he is good in the
he's
movie.
good. I think not an issue with him, just the issue with what the filmmakers wanted from him. And
Mhm.
even when I say issue, I say that very lightly because I don't have a huge problem with it. But that being said, I think that, like, we will see where he goes. I think that he's a talented enough dude, and maybe because he's getting Oscar nominations and because he only has one, no, and it's literally for Barbie. No, I guess he has two from La La Land, right? La La Land
Yes.
and then Barbie.
Yes. Yeah.
And then Project Hail Mary is like one of like the biggest movies of the year, which obviously they're probably banking on it, but also couldn't have been like an IP sludge like
Yeah.
guarantee.
Mhm.
He might just be if he gets these numbers, if he gets these accolades that he's doing in his part of his career right now, he might just thrive in this section.
He was also nominated for Best Actor in Half Nelson.
Is that real?
Mhm.
Oh my
That's
god.
crazy. I didn't know that.
Oh, that's so gas packed.
What have those filmmakers done again? Sorry. No.
They've done something that's like their biggest movie, but they've
Ryan Fleck. No. But yeah, what the fuck? Because he works with, yeah, Anna Boden, um, Freaky Tales. They did Freaky Tales.
yeah,
That
yes.
fuck.
Dumbass.
Me,
You knew
motherfucker.
this. You fucking knew this.
Yeah, the Captain Marvel of it all got to me. But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of scared, man. Our next episode might kill us. I've been. Should we let the viewers at least know? Are we going to see this in 40x or RPX? RPX, the good one.
Oh.
Both playing at the same time.
And I scratched my head like a monkey.
You're bleeding.
um, mommy's with the maggots now. 40x.
You sure? You said that pretty hesitantly.
Yes, because I think worst case scenario, we come out of it feeling like fucking bandaged mummies. At the very least, we can talk about 40x as a format.
Okay. Okay.
You guys are legitimately hearing our thought process deciding our next episode.
All
So
right.
a lot
Let's
of
rip
cool
it. But
BTS.
oh, and fuck, I've first episode I forgot. Email us in at beneflickspod@gmail.com if you're still listening to us an hour and 40 minutes into this. Please. But yeah, thank you so much, friends, for tuning in to this very vast episode.
We talked about the ending to Bird.
No, we literally did. No, I'm blocking that motherfucker. User not found. Green texting him. Thank you though, Austin, for submitting
I
the
love you, Austin.
question.
I love you, Simon.
Love you too, Simon. Love you, KG. We will answer. We're gonna forget, and it's gonna be like a syndrome situation. But yeah, thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your evening, day,
Wait,
or afternoon.
socials in the description.
Oh yeah. Run
You're
that
out
shit.
of it. Socials in the description. And friends, like Liz said before, email us in at beneflickspod@gmail.com. Do you have any wonderful words to say for the people?
Beats the burden. You never. You know,
You guys have a great night.
good night, everyone. Sweet dreams.
Love you.
Mwah.